Hey, Jay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you phenomenally. How are you?
Two thumbs up because I'm speaking to a legend in the making. Are you doing fine today?
Oh, you know what? I can't complain at all. Life is amazing.
Yeah, I was reading about you signing with Impact in it was almost like a surprise and unsolicited thing where they came to you and they sought you out. Any idea what the match or the thing of yours that they saw where they said, we have to get this person was?
I think I actually worked with Impact first around this time last year. And I think that that's where Impact Wrestling first put their eyes on me. But at that time, I don't really feel as though I was ready per se. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like I was at that level just yet. I was like right there, but I wasn't at that level just yet. And I think Impact was very right to wait a while for me to, you know what I mean, just season up and, be, I mean, I'm using food terminology here, but season up and, I mean, taste the best that I can before they take a bite, right? So I think that they did phenomenal with that because now a year later, I feel way more confident in my skill set and who I am to be able to be out there and, pump my chest out and be able to share the locker room with people who some of them actually grew up watching, like Rhino and Mickey James. And now I'm like, before last year, I was in the locker room like, oh my God, I'm in the locker room with them. Do I belong here? Now I'm there with my chest up and my head high and saying, no, these are my peers.
Right. How long was it from getting that call from Impact to actually debuting as a contracted wrestler?
So I ended up going to Las Vegas, I want to say about a month ago or so.
Mhm.
And that's when I worked with Impact since last year. I contacted them and I said, "Hey, I'm going to be out in Vegas these dates. I'm just wondering if you guys have anything open and available for me." And luckily they contacted me a week before and they said, "Hey Jay, we got something." It's actually Gail Kim, which is really awesome because I really looked up
Mhm.
to her when I was a kid. Contacted me. She's like, "Hey Jay, we got something for you. Be there this day." And I said, "Perfect, I'm there." And ended up doing the stuff with Gisele Shaw, and she's a tremendous top tier athlete.
Mhm.
And they said, "Yeah, you're going to be her executive hairstylist and content creator." And it's funny because that whole day backstage, people were coming out to me like, "Did you hear anything yet? Did you hear anything yet?" And I'm like, "No, am I supposed to hear something?" And they're just like, "Oh, never mind." I'm like, "Okay." So I said goodbye to everybody and flew back over to South Florida. And when I
Mhm.
got off my flight, it was when I had the missed call from Tommy Dreamer, and he was like, "Hey Jay, call me back whenever you get a chance to." And I called him back, and he laid everything out for me that they're gonna offer me a contract, and I was on cloud nine.
I can imagine. And that's another name you've already mentioned: Gail Kim, Mickey James, Tommy Dreamer. It's a roster full of up and coming talent, today's stars, tomorrow's stars, but also a lot of people that you grew up watching. It's a very interesting mix in the Impact locker room these days.
Yes, I think it's such a healthy mix of, new up and coming talent, and you got the guys who are still there at the top, and then the people there who are legends
Mhm.
who are helping guide everybody through the obstacles that they had to face. So we as new up and coming talent don't have to face those obstacles and we could reach where we want to reach to much quicker. So I do love the mix of, generations, if you will, that's shared inside the Impact locker room.
Just about every performer that you speak with, you say, "So what's your goal in the company?" And they all say, "Well, I'm going to be the world heavyweight champion," that kind of a thing. Is it the same exact thing for you? Or are you one of those, no, the X division title is where I want to be?
So my goal personally as Jay Vidal is to become the X Division champion. I watched Impact Wrestling all through my, preteens and teens is when I discovered them. And when I first tuned in, the thing that locked me the most was, okay, the X Division, what's this? Oh
Yeah.
my God, these guys are like, smaller guys, but they're going out there and a lot of times they were outperforming everybody else on the card. And that's just, I knew that I wanted to be a part of that division. And ultimately, I would love to, hold up that X Division championship. I mean, I'm signed as a Impact Wrestling's first openly gay male wrestler. And I know that I broke down that barrier, but to not just be that, but to also become Impact's first openly gay, I should say, X Division champion, that is just, a goal now in and of itself to do for not just me, but for the LGBTQ plus community.
In terms of that community, when did you first start to notice that it was okay to be yourself on a regular basis? For me, in noticing the wrestling community, and tell me if I'm wrong here, I would say it's about 3-4 years ago when Effie just started outwardly branding everything the way that Effie wanted to.
I love that you brought Effie into this. So fun fact, it was actually Gangrel, I want to say in about 2018. I was 2 years into wrestling, and he and I I used to go and pick him up, and it was funny because he could actually drive to the shows, but he would want me to go pick him up and take him back. He'd offer to pay for gas, whatever, but the point was that he would always drop knowledge on me on the way there and on the way back, above everything else. And he and I grew very close. He's a mentor to me. And I remember one day he just asked me, he's like, "Are you gay?" And I was like, no. It turns out I told one of the students told him. He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, yeah, no, I'm straight. Me being in the closet and wrestling. And then he's like, "Hey, I drop a lot of knowledge on you. I help you out a lot. The least you could do is, tell me if you are." And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I am. And it was like this silence for a second. And he's like, "So why don't you tell the world?" And I'm just like, I'm scared that, they're gonna stop booking me or they're gonna take the belts off of me, because he's just a trainer at the place. He wasn't the promoter. And he's like, "You know what? F that. If the promoter doesn't like you because you're gay and being your authentic self, then, screw him. There's other places to work." And I was like, yeah, you're right. He's like, "You go and be yourself." And ever since then, I was able to come out in wrestling. And through that, I had Effie, who followed me on social media. And I actually met at a show. I was helping set up a ring in 2018. That's when I initially met Effie, but he followed me on social media since then and saw my rise. And he gave me a platform, to be able to perform in front of bigger audiences. At least at that time, that was bigger audiences I would wrestle in front of. And I think that ultimately, led to not just me being able to get more fans, but to also have that confidence in myself that I could go to these other states and still, be as loved or adored by and accepted by those fans, to now being able to do it on a national level and international level, for that sake, with Impact Wrestling.
Right. Well, the last question I have before I let you go, in having spoken at now with probably 70% of the Impact roster, I'm learning that everybody loves wrestling, but they have that second career that they're always eyeing. Like Mickie James is a great singer. Moose secretly plays the piano, but it also maybe wants to have a fashion line. Everyone has their other thing. What's your number two or your side hustle that we might eventually see as a career?
So something, and I kept this to myself, but something that I would love to do, a very good friend of mine is Mia Yim. And I adore how, she goes on there and plays video games on Twitch. I would love to do that, because I'll catch myself playing video games and I'm like, I'm just yelling at the TV screen. And that's essentially, what these guys do in a very entertaining fashion. So you could probably catch that very, very, very soon. Of course, there's other things that I love to do. I love watching TV series. So I would love to be an actor as well one day. I just got through Queen of the South. Phenomenal show. You know what I mean? Cartel stuff, it gets me going. But also, I love listening to rap as well, especially feminine rap, rappers such as Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. To me, they're in such a male dominated industry. And to me, that's almost like me being more feminine or whatever the case might be, coming into professional wrestling in a very masculine dominated world and being like sprinkling my, hey, no, this is me. And I'm going to put myself out there, and thanks to Impact Wrestling, you know, be able to be my true and authentic self and turn that up to 1,000.
Well, I'm looking forward to the Twitch video game streaming, the X Division title in your future, etc. Thank you for your time, Jay, and looking forward to it all.
Thank you so much, Darren. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Paltrocast.